We're going to do this over. This is Mike Bluehair reporting for Film the Police Portland. This is an interview that's long overdue. When I first started this 2 years ago, I interviewed everyone that wanted to be involved with Film the Police Portland to ask them a few basic questions. So I'm going to ask Mr. Jeffrey Geiger of jgpolitics.com. I have to say, YouTube, this motherfucker has been with me since the very beginning. I told him at the very beginning when he first started participating, the very first week I was doing this, he's drafted. He can't get out of it. You know, he's been my most consistent cop watcher. This guy's been out with me more times on the weekends than anybody else. Doesn't claim to be a member of Film the Police Portland, but I'm sorry, Jeff, you are a member of Film the Police Portland because of participation. Sweat equity has made you a general in my lovely army of police accountability. So, without further ado, this is Jeff Geiger's interview. So, what made you interested in coming out with me to film the cops?
I saw what you started doing, and I was interested in it. At the time, I was doing game development, and it was frustrating. I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere with it. I've been into software development for a while, and I just didn't feel like I was getting much out of it. And I saw you doing the cop watching thing, and I felt that it was something that could actually give value back to the community more than my software and game development skills could potentially give to the community. So I wanted to do that. As taxpayers and cops being very expensive to taxpayers and training and such, I think it's important to keep an eye on them. So I decided to come out and see if I liked it, and I turned out to like it, and now I have my own website and have been following politics and, you know, followed down the path of libertarianism even more so than I was at the time.
Right on. So if there's people out there on the interweb and they just stumbled across this video, why would you recommend people film the cops, or why would you recommend people strive to keep them more accountable via a camera?
Because you can only expect so much out of politicians. The police union, the police associations are very powerful at the local level, and even at the national level. There's the Fraternal Brotherhood of Police Officers, I believe is what it's called.
The Fraternal Order of Police, same
Order
thing.
of Police, yeah.
It's the largest conglomeration of unions in the country, yeah.
They're
police
very
unions.
large and very powerful, but the one way that you can have your voice, have a representation, and make sure that they're doing their job is to pull out a cell phone, a video camera, and film the interaction they have with the public. I mean, you are paying for it. If you pay taxes, even if you don't, you are paying for it. And what they get away with and what they do is important. If they get away with things that are criminal and our district attorneys, our politicians aren't holding them accountable, and we're not holding them accountable, then they're going to be able to continue to get away with things that we don't want them getting away with. And the more the people that film them, the more they get used to it, and the more they get used to that accountability, we can weed out the bad actors that may be in the police force.
Right on. So the citizens weeding out the bad apples, as it were.
Yeah.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that you're of the opinion that filming police discharge their duties in public has a positive net effect on society?
Yes.
So give an example of how this could be true.
So we film the interactions of multiple police encounters. You put them up online so other people can see them, and it also gives an opportunity for police officers to see what they look like from another person's angle, some angle that most people can't see. They get to see how they perform their job, and they can look at themselves, their own policies, and look at themselves objectively, something that they can't really do from, you know, their own police association or their own talking with their fellow coworkers. And they could feel the pressure from the bad actors, and that pressure could lead to them removing those bad actors from the police force, because they would rather have the community support them and what they're doing, and those bad actors are hurting that image.
Right on. Have you seen or witnessed in your 2 years of doing this the camera work as a tool to, let's say, mitigate violence, either for the police or against them?
I can't say I have. I mean, I definitely know that my cameras had an effect in certain scenes, because when several individuals have held their own cameras up and the police have done either something with the camera as the light was shining at one person's face, they said that I was recording it, and that seemed to allow the person to continue doing their thing. I've also filmed them, you know, I think it's helped in some situations, but couldn't name them off the top of my head.
Okay, right on. So if people could find your brand of politics or your stuff online, or if they want to get some more of jgpolitics.com or Jeff Geiger's flavor, where can they go to, select that on the interweb?
JGPolitics.com would be probably the best way. I'm also on Twitter at Jeff Geiger CR, and that would be probably the best two ways to watch what my politics are, because every YouTube video I upload goes to my Twitter feed. So, and also I do a blog post on pretty much every video.
So, aside from a whole bunch of cop watching videos, what will people find on your blog?
I cover national politics. I cover some local politics, a lot more local than I do national, just because I live here in Portland, and I figured that's a little bit more important, and I can actually do more research than the national level. But while keeping an eye on what people do in Washington, D.C. with our centralized government is very important, because they're the ones that spend the big bucks, the trillions and trillions of dollars. So I think that would be what you could find, pretty much.
Okay. Would you say that it would be fair to say that America is ascending into a police state?
I think we're already there.
You think we're already there?
I think we're already very much.
Give a few examples of why you think so.
The rapid militarization of the police force through, I can't remember the DoD program off the top of my head.
The 1099 program where they, I think it's 1099, but I'll put a link to it underneath the video. It's basically where they give out the military hardware to cops, right?
The NDAA 2012, which allows for the indefinite detention of anybody the government deems for any reason to hold them in detention for ever. I mean, they don't have to charge them with anything. The fact that we still operate a, I would say secret prison, but everybody knows about Guantanamo Bay, and that is completely outside the United States jurisdiction. And they have people there that the government has deemed not to be a threat, and they're still holding them.
Right, and there's white papers you can read. There's at least a dozen off-site, off-the-books, ran by acronyms, CIA and other lovely little facets of our shadow government, prisons all around the world as well.
Yeah, and I think that we have a situation where the media is also being very compliant and not addressing the issue of what the police are doing in the community. I mean, mainstream media doesn't really cover it unless there's a public information officer giving a statement on the situation.
So a state-funded propagandist.
Yeah, I mean, and they don't seem to really do much journalism or much going out there and actually seeing what's happening in the community. They seem to be more, let's watch the news feed, and if something major happens, we'll bring a van out there, which, they're a big corporation. They have budgets and schedules to keep. But
So I'm not even going to go to the logical fallacy that it's incumbent on the indie journalist or the activist or the person that's pointing out the problem to provide a solution, but I would still like to ask you, do you see any fixes or anything that the average Joe or the body politic at large could do to maybe struggle out of this police state?
Get very active. Like, you have to, whatever drives you, like what you first learn, like the Constitution, learn our founding is very important. Learning how our country was set up and learning their ideas and reading the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers is very important. Also, I'd say, like, if you have a thing that you're concerned about, if your concern is the Second Amendment, then you need to be watching politicians locally, nationally, on what they're doing with the Second Amendment. If your issue is the freedom of speech and your freedom of expression, then you need to be an activist in that, and you need to target that. And I think if everybody targeted their own, pet issue or what they think is important to them as a right, as a creator-given right or a God-given right, they need to address that, and they need to be active in that. If you're not actively using your rights, they will take them from you. The state will come and take them from you.
Right. So is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think I've pretty much covered it.
Right on. So Jeff Geiger of jgpolitics.com, the longest running member aside from myself, Film the Police Portland.